What's up, everybody? Down South Don back at you with another video. So today's topic: should you buy a used Harley? And just first off, I want to say this is a used Harley, 2017. For those of you that don't know, and I'm pretty damn happy with it. Of course, you can do what you must and do what you want with either or, but you got more options when you buy a used Harley and you decide not to jump on the stupid train and get all the different warranties, which is a whole nother subject, because you have to ask yourself, is it actually worth it to get all those different warranties? Now, I, did work at Harley. Not there anymore, but I'm going to tell you a story about that in another video. But I chose to get a used bike simply because not only was it in a good price range, I also used my discount as an employee, which made a nice little difference. And I didn't see anything wrong with used. Now, I got this bike, and it had, I want to say, 10,000 miles or more on it, which didn't bother me at all because, that's just breaking in. And people kind of get screwed over when they go get those new bikes. And a lot of people jump in and go get the new bike with, oh, I got brand new, this, and that. Now, everybody knows in the industry, whether you were buying a new car or buying a bike or whatever, that bike loses a shit ton, or car, it loses quite a bit as soon as you drive it off the lot. Reason being, because it was never really worth that in the first place. As you think about when these people get these bikes or cars, that the dealer markup, as well as finance fees, and all kind of other stuff that they slap at you, which is another story in itself, which I'm definitely going to give you the insider on that. So you're looking at all these different fees when you're getting screwed over and you end up owing so much more on the bike, and then you wonder why, when you get ready to trade it in, that it's not worth what you're trying to trade it in for. So consider that in mind. Now, my bike is still flawless. People always look at it and be like, hey man, that's a badass bike. What year is it? 17. They like, what? And it's because not only is it so clean, but just the fact I take care of take care of everything that I own. So definitely something that you consider when you're looking at a bike. And I guess the advantage that I had with this motorcycle is that I drove this bike to lunch almost every day or every other day. So during the time that a lot of people were kind of looking over it because it was used, I knew not only what the bike had in it or done to it, but also I knew about the owner. I looked up the history on the bike, and this is just something you guys definitely might want to, look into. Find out how many owners had the bike. If there's been tons of, multiple owners, that might not be a good idea. So something that you definitely need to consider, like, maybe I should bypass this one. But I looked up the service records on this bike. The guy that had it, he literally took care of his bike. He serviced it at every interval, which definitely, piqued my interest. And he took care of it. The miles that he rode had been, I believe, over a 2-year span, which was no big deal. I don't mind if you ride the bike, especially if you're riding it, a considerable amount, and you got all the bugs and kinks out of it. Thanks, dude. So the fact that he got all the bugs out, it held my interest. I rode it for at least, I want to say almost 2.5 months. And yeah, I kind of hid it, when I could, so it wouldn't sell. But I mean, it had to be out there on the lot, of course. And of course, I didn't steer anybody toward it because this is the one I wanted. So I guess that was the advantage of working there. Plus that $3,000 discount that I got on it, as far as an employee, that was great. I definitely enjoyed that. And I traded in my Hayabusa for $6,500. So that ought to give you an idea of what I got this bike for. And at the time, see, $3,000 off, you're looking at 17, 17 some change, plus then you take off the 6.5. So there you go. Do the math. And that's one of the reasons I think a lot of people try and go and work at Harley for a certain amount of time is because they want that discount and they try and get, as much as they can off on the bike. And all discounts are different basically because it depends on what the dealer has into the bike. And it's usually $500 over cost of what it costs them to get the bike. So that's why it's kind of good to get one of the good trade-ins. And of course, the dealer's going to always push you toward a new bike. Oh, the interest rate is lower, this and that. But let me tell you, man, Harley has no penalties in paying off your bike early. So if you can get that bike at a lower cost and you actually, want to trade it in, do just that. Trade that bike in. Get the traded in bike, that one owner that doesn't have a ton of miles on it. And if it does have a certain amount of miles, even 20,000, because these motors last a long time as long as you take care of them. It doesn't matter. If the oil has been changed, it hadn't been abused, tires burnt off of it all the time. I tend not to go for certain bikes that have a lot of mods on it. If it's fairly stock, yeah, that's a go. But if it's cammed out and all this other different stuff, then you're probably buying somebody else's nightmare. Especially if they let they homing, working on the bike and not a certified technician. So you definitely just check out one of my other videos when I talk about make sure that you have a Harley certified technician to work on your bike when it comes to going into your motor. Now the outside attachments and whatnot, no big deal. But as far as, you actually letting them break down your motor and getting into the cams and going deep, nah, I don't believe in that. Because I know what can go wrong. People break bolts off into your stuff, metal shavings. Then you end up with some kind of motor failure, which that would suck. And guess what? That warranty you bought no longer covers that issue, so you're screwed. Then it's going to cost you more money. And that's one of the things that I can say. If you can find you a certified mechanic, as a homie, to work on your motorcycle, do that, man. Ditch the warranty, because you're paying all that extra money for nothing. Especially if you're not using it, or if you're mechanically inclined. You may not ever have a problem with your motorcycle. Now, I've got, I know a couple people that's blown motors, and there's 9 times out of 10, it was something that they were probably doing that didn't make sense in the first damn place. So you use your better judgment. If you feel like you're the kind of person that don't want to work on your bike, you're not mechanically inclined, you don't do certain things, to your motorcycle, then don't do it. Don't do it. Go ahead and get the warranty and make the best out of it. Go on, suck up that loss. Because it's going to cost you probably more in the end if you end up not getting a warranty and you're not mechanically inclined. But if you can do things, you can handle things on your own. It's nothing wrong with either way. Everybody's not mechanically inclined. We're all not blessed with that knowledge, or to do so. So, hey, make your better decision. But anyway, so should you buy the Harley used? Yes. What to look for? Tons of mods, abuse. If the bike still looks clean and you can't believe it's a 2017 or 2018, go for what you know. That's probably the bike to get. Now, mind you, people do polish turds all the time. So you're not just looking at the paint, setup. You're looking at a lot of things: the paint, the motor, the modifications. Get the build out on it if you can. The specs, what's been done to it. If you can talk to the previous owner, all that makes sense. Because then you're kind of protecting yourself, and you kind of find out not only if the guy's going to be honest with you, and tell you exactly what he's done to that bike, then cool, you're in great shape. And a lot of times, the dealer's not going to let you talk to the previous owner. But if you know somebody that traded that bike in, then that's one thing. But if you're in another situation where, for instance, that thing is loud. And you're in a situation, for instance, where you can't talk to that previous owner, then man, hey, you got to use your better judgment. And I advise you to do your due diligence, do your research on the motorcycle, Carfax it, whatever you have to do. See if it's been in the shop before, see if it's been wrecked. And one of the best ways to kind of tell, which is not always a guaranteed way of finding out, is if you turn on a bike and it doesn't turn smoothly, it kind of pivots, or you feel it pushing towards you on one side of the handlebar or not, then a lot of times that bike has probably been wrecked. Either that or they done something to it that hadn't been, probably approved. And that's something that you might want to consider. So, I probably left out a few things because I definitely got a thinking ride while I'm out here. People are driving crazy as usual. And not looking out for me, so I have to look out for them. Anyway, going up to Best Buy so I can buy my little computer set up so I can make more videos. And so stay tuned for that update for sure, because I'm definitely thinking about doing this full time, which is something I enjoy. Plus I got other projects, that's necessary for a computer other than an iPad, and I need that wide screen so I can see everything in my videos. But it makes for great editing. Anyway, hope I left you guys something to think about. And something to keep in mind when you're buying a motorcycle. And try not to stress when it comes to, buying a bike. Because it's pretty easy. You just need to know how not to get screwed over. And that's one of the biggest things. Hey, and if you got any questions, shoot me some kind of message if you got any questions, if you're out buying a bike or whatever. That's one of the reasons a lot of my customers actually trusted me, is because I keep it real. It's hard for me I'm not the kind of person to lie to you just to sell a motorcycle. That's never been my thing. And like I've told some of you guys before, I'm honest to a fault. I have to live with myself. If I was to sell you something bogus, and it'll play, it just plays. I don't believe in compromising my integrity just because I want to make a buck. Unlike a lot of the people that actually sell Harleys. That's not to shit on nobody. That's just being honest. It's hard for me to sell you something and not 9 times out of 10 I make friends, basically, out of the people I sell bikes to. And 9 times out of 10 I end up riding with you. So a lot of you can attest to that. Anyway, meant to keep this short, but let me go in here, take this helmet off. Down South Don, I'm out.